Your fishing rod keeps breaking when catching fish in wild fishing? Don't blame poor rod quality. It's these two mistakes in your operation. It's a familiar and frustrating situation for many anglers. After finally hooking a decent fish, you begin to reel it in or lift the rod, and suddenly crack. Your rod snaps, the fish escapes, and you're left with a broken piece of equipment. It's tempting to blame the rod quality, but more often than not, the real issue lies in how you're operating the rod. Specifically, the middle sections and the handle are where breaks most commonly happen. Let's dive into the reasons why this happens and how to prevent it, so you can enjoy fishing without worrying about rod failure. 1. The middle two sections always break? Mostly because you lift the rod too hastily, trapping all the force in the middle. The second and third sections of your fishing rod, the middle parts, are the most prone to breaking. This often happens because when you pull the rod up too quickly, the force of the fish's struggle is concentrated on these sections, which can't handle it. Why does lifting the rod too quickly cause breakage? When a fish is fighting in the water, it exerts force in all directions, and a well-designed rod should bend and absorb some of that pressure. But if you suddenly raise the rod too high, almost vertically, the force is all concentrated in the middle sections, and it's like snapping a chopstick. The middle is the weakest point. Here's a scenario. A young angler was reeling in a 1.5 kilogram carp. Excited, he yanked the rod up quickly, and cracked. The second section snapped. The fish swam away with part of the line, and the poor angler sat there lamenting his broken rod. How to avoid this mistake? For smaller fish, 0.5 to 1 kilogram, lift the rod slowly. Keep the tip slightly bent. This way, the fish's force is gradually transferred to the tip and won't put too much stress on the middle. For larger fish, over 2.5 kilograms, never rush to lift the rod. First, keep the rod at a 45-degree angle to the water and let the fish swim and exhaust itself. As the fish tires, you can gradually lift the rod, letting it bend like a bow rather than pulling it straight up. Pro tip from an experienced angler. One of my fishing buddies, who has over 20 years of experience, always says, "Let the rod be like a bow, not a stick." He means that the rod should remain slightly bent at all times so the force is spread out. When he caught a 4-kilogram grass carp, the rod bent into a full moon shape, and he smoothly landed the fish, no breakage. 2. The handle breaks? Wrong gripping posture, coupled with hidden defects in rod workmanship, causes rod explosion. The handle of the fishing rod, where you grip, doesn't break as often, but when it does, the damage is severe. This usually happens when the gripping posture is incorrect, combined with some flaws in the rod itself. What's wrong with the gripping posture? When fishing for bigger fish, many anglers tend to hold the rod too widely, one hand near the bottom of the handle and the other at the middle, creating a wide gap between their hands. While this may seem like a good idea to exert more force, it actually places tremendous pressure on the middle of the handle, making it prone to bending or breaking. Here's an example. I once witnessed an angler trying to reel in a 5-kilogram black carp. His hands were nearly 33 centimeters apart on the handle. When the fish made a sudden move, the middle of the handle cracked, but he managed to walk the fish in quickly and avoid a total disaster. How to grip correctly? Keep your hands close together, no wider than the length of your fist. Both hands should grip the upper part of the handle, so the force is distributed evenly across the entire handle, not concentrated at one point. For bigger fish, if the fish is particularly strong, you can tuck your elbows into your waist and use your body strength to release the force, rather than relying solely on arm strength. Watch out for defects in the rod itself. Even with the best grip, if the rod has manufacturing defects like poorly wrapped thread or air bubbles in the carbon cloth, it can still break under pressure. So, always check for flaws in workmanship before buying a rod. Squeeze the handle to see if it feels sturdy and check the wrapping thread for any irregularities. Fishing is pleasant only when the rod doesn't break. The key takeaway here is that rod breakage often doesn't stem from poor quality but from how we use the rod. Middle sections break when you lift too quickly and put all the force in one spot. The handle breaks when you grip too wide, concentrating force in the middle. By avoiding these two mistakes and choosing a rod with good craftsmanship, you can reduce the chances of rod failure by over 50%. Remember these golden tips. Walk the fish like drawing a bow, always keep the rod slightly bent and avoid direct confrontation with the fish. Grip with your hands close together, distribute the force evenly across the handle. Fishing is all about enjoying the thrill of reeling in your catch. Don't let a broken rod ruin the experience. Treat your rod with care, and the fish will follow. About the author. I'm a passionate fishing enthusiast and self-media blogger, and I love sharing tips and tricks to help anglers improve their skills. Follow me to keep up with more fishing advice, and let's exchange ideas on wild fishing. Like, save, and follow for future updates.